Hello, I'm Richard Hooper and this is SatTV Week. Now I'm pleased to be joined by Tan Tian Seng of Singtel. Tian Seng, thank you for joining us. Now Singtel have won many awards over the last few years, but how do you keep innovating with your products and solutions?
Well, basically, Singtel, we take a partnership approach, when dealing with our customers instead of transactional approach. So we continue to listen to customers' pain points, their needs, and from there we actually try to find solutions that meet their needs. And frankly, Singtel also has a privilege of Singtel Satellite. That's where our team is, our business is, has the privilege of riding on the largest Singtel group for a lot of innovative services that we have. For instance, we have a big cybersecurity business that we can tap on to provide cybersecurity solutions to our satellite customers. As you know, cybersecurity now is actually one of the biggest pain points for a lot of customers when it comes to connectivity, to ensure that connectivity is safe against any cyber attacks. And we also listen to customer pain points and try to find cost-effective solutions. So for instance, we roll out our Set Secure and Set Bandwidth on Demand services. That is primarily from the angle of customer networks needs backup, but they are not able to sustain paying a high monthly charges for a live VSAT circuit, for instance, which may cost thousands of dollars. And we came in with a very low cost per monthly, right down to the few $100s that they can just pay, but they will be able to get a backup network in case their primary network fails. So I think how we keep up with the all this innovation is really put our feet on the ground in terms of listening to our customers closely and coming up with solutions that is tailored towards their needs instead of pushing products to the market, to the customers. So I think that's one of the mantra that we adopt to ensure that we keep up our innovative solutions for our customers.
Now there's a lot of disruptive technologies and developments in the satellite sector. How does Singtel keep pace?
Well, we can't be doing everything, and so we look at market trends, not just now, but also what we see going into the future. And as I mentioned about our mantra in working with our customers, we listen to our customers as well in terms of current and future needs. And we look at really the technology space, in terms of what is out there and what we think are actually technology that can bring us to the future. And as I said, being a telco as well, so we have a lot of experience and a lot of I would call backing from our Singtel group in terms of the latest technology that's happening, whether it's in the terrestrial world or in the wireless world. Especially we are a very big mobile business with us. And satellite being wireless as well, I think we can see how all these trends are going to develop over the years. And then we will, may I call it bet, on trends and products and services that we think will meet the needs of the future. And we will try to then so-called put our resource to develop such kind of services or products. For instance, I think we see in the satellite world that IoT is probably going to be the next key catalyst for satellite bandwidth requirements. And Singtel Group itself already has a big IoT business, and we are tapping a lot on all those expertise and experience to see how we can bring that into the satellite world and act as a catalyst for the future satellite growth. And I think this is one area that we will focus closely on. Of course, cybersecurity, as I mentioned just now, we also have a big Singtel Group has a big business on that, and this is something I think everyone will agree that moving forward, no networks in the world is safe, and you need to ensure that you are being protected. Not just from your endpoints, but also when data goes into transit. And of course, we are working with some other partners as well outside of Singtel companies to ensure that we are able to also improve the security. For instance, I think we are looking at data encryption with one of our partners, RigNet, to be deployed on our networks as well, so that when data is being transferred over the satellite link, the encryption will also ensure additional layer of security. So basically, we look deeply into all the trends, technology, commercial, and as I said, we try to bet on the right horse.
Now, one of your big sectors is maritime. How is that sector at the moment, and where do you see it progressing to?
Well, Okay, I think maritime definitely is one of our key sectors, and we definitely want to be in the maritime space for a long time. Last few years, I think it's going through very rough waters. Yep, the downturn has been in the maritime sector has been longer than expected, and so we see actually a lot of in the process a lot of so-called transformation happening as well, consolidation and transformation happening as well, and one of the key I think transformation actually is the digitalization of actually the maritime comms market. So basically, you see the ships, requirements moving more and more. In fact, it was that was already a trend going on, but it has now moved almost completely to data centric rather than voice. And what is driving data, I think, is this move towards having what we call a digital ship or a smart ship, where companies trying to stay competitive, trying to downsize in terms of manpower, and also partly because maritime manpower is quite scarce. Not enough people going out, willing to go out to the sea, and how they're going to actually manage the ships remotely if they can. So these things about autonomous ships going to the future may be true, that you can actually run a ship from shore rather than deploying a lot of captains, officers on board the ship. And because of these requirements, we see actually again the maritime sector probably pushing a growth in the future years could be the M2M and IoT kind of applications. Basically getting the ship connected, fully connected in terms of being able to monitor the engines, the navigational equipments, practically almost everything on the ship that they can monitor, so that from shore the operators or the managers can actually run the ship remotely technically. And being a highly connected vessels, of course cyber security will come in again. So you need to be a highly connected, secure vessel. And I think this trend will push, hopefully, the maritime segment out of its doldrums and really grow in the coming years. And that will drive, I think, the satellite demand for maritime. But of course, I think what could be interesting is actually the different technology coming on board. I think you have seen the HTS technology that is being deployed in the maritime segment. I think the likes of Inmarsat with their FX and Intelsat with Epic, and of course the rest has a lot of other announcements about catering to maritime. I think this is a segment that will never go away, because I think that's the only means for ships in the deep ocean to communicate is satellite. So it's going to be a very resilient market. I think it's a matter of how much it can grow further from a so-called bandwidth requirement perspective. And I think with this move towards digitization, getting a smart ship, getting a connected ship, autonomous ship, I think that is probably the angle that will be good for this segment to push actually the demand for satellite bandwidth going into the future. And I sincerely believe that's going to happen. Yeah.
So with regards Singtel Satellite looking forward, you've mentioned the maritime, you've mentioned cyber security. Are there any other areas that you think might be a good place to go?
So you are saying putting a bet beyond just maritime? Of course, the enterprise segment has also always been our key segments, where we provide to the banks, to all the industries, enterprises. One segment which I think personally, which doesn't speak for my company whether we'll go into that segment, but I think from a promise, from a growth perspective, I think the aviation industry is actually quite interesting. Singtel used to be involved in that industry with when we launched our Inmarsat Aero services more than 20 years back. Yeah, so we were one of the pioneers with the Inmarsat Aero services. And actually it's a segment that is holding a lot of promise. Just look at the number of flight sectors, number of airplane flights between countries around the world is huge compared to maritime in terms of number of hours spent in air, so to speak, where you may need communications. I guess it's a segment that has all this inherent demand that is waiting, I think, for the right product mix, right price point to really explode and become the next growth segment of the satellite industry. Because as I said, just look at the sheer number of flights, number of passengers on board. And one key thing I think is about, smart devices now being very prevalent. Even when you're traveling, you can't just leave your smart devices alone, right? And this requirement to be connected all the time, 24 hours, so to speak, could be the catalyst, for driving the aviation requirement for bandwidth going forward. I think it's for all the operators, all the satellite operators who's providing all these aviation services to find the right product and price point to open up this market. I think it's one of the growth segments. And the other, of course, I mentioned IoT, which we are playing in as well. It's going to be, I think, one of the future catalysts for satellite growth. Somehow, this whole world is going to be more connected, and not just human, but machines as well. So I think that is going to be the few key drivers, I think, that will augurs well for the satellite industries. And satellite industry will always be around because there will always be places, situations where there is no other means of communications. And satellite, being given its technology, being wireless, being very broad in terms of its coverage, will always find its place in this whole world.
Tian Seng, thank you very much.
Thank you.